another edition of eMigr8 Open Day. It promises to be exciting. It promises to be informative. Our coach is already in the room, who's going to be sharing a lot with us today as regards his journey. Also, today we'll be talking also around Tech Nation shutting down. What next? Our coach is going to start by sharing with us around an investor's guide to the Tech Nation visa. Tech Nation is the current endorsing body for the UK Global Talent Visa for the field of digital technology. Yes, there's been a lot of news in the media lately around Tech Nation shutting down and all, and we do have a lot of information around this particular topic. We'll be doing that as the second session, or as the second segment of today's edition. The first segment of today's edition would be focused on an investor's guide to the UK Global Talent Visa. And we have our coach in the room, Henry, who will be sharing with us his journey. We'll just ask that if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. Drop your questions in the chat because we would be able to get to those questions. We would answer as many questions as possible to the best of our ability. We'll remind everyone that this is not legal advice. This is not immigration advice. This is us sharing from our experience, from knowledge, from information available to us. This is us trying to help the community, and that's just it. Who are we? We are eMigr8, and welcome to this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. eMigr8 focuses on tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. eMigr8 focuses on tech-enabled visa opportunities. During today's session, we will start by talking a little bit around eMigr8, much later in the session, really. We'll hand over to our coach for today, who's going to be sharing about his own journey, some tips for you, how he applied, and so on. We'll be talking about that. And if you wait till the end, we've got a number of tips for you, particularly around the viral news on Tech Nation shutting down. What's next? We've also got a package around the move to UK in 3 to 6 months that we would also be talking about during today's session. We'll remind the community that we have a number of eMigr8 Open Day videos available for you to watch on demand on YouTube mostly. Now, many of these sessions are from other coaches who have joined the session and shared from the wealth of their own experience. They've shared about their own journey, and they've shared useful tips to the community. We've had people speaking around the Australian Global Talent Visa. We've had people speaking about the US, we call it the US Global Talent Visa, but the longer name is the US 01 visa for individuals with extraordinary ability. We've had open days around that. We've had open days around some tech-enabled visa pathways to focus on in 2023. We've had open days around the UK Startup Visa, the UK Innovator Visa, and several other tech-enabled visa routes. Many of these videos are available on demand. You can ask for them within the eMigr8 community. Today, we will focus on an investor's guide to the UK Global Talent Visa, and also we will speak a little bit around Tech Nation shutting down. What next? And this is the second session for today's edition. We have many more editions of eMigr8 Open Days planned for the UK Startup Visa, UK Innovator Visa. The UK Innovator Visa is going to have some changes this side of this year, and we will be speaking a little bit about that during one of the next few eMigr8 Open Day sessions. We would have sessions around the UK Global Talent Visa, which is currently called the Tech Nation Visa. We would have sessions around move to the US as a global talent, and several others as well that are available around eMigr8. eMigr8 is your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. What we do at eMigr8 is to focus on you becoming globally attractive. We believe that the visa itself is just a side effect of this overarching objective. The reason why we say so is because many of the countries of the world are looking for talents. They're asking for talents to come to their jurisdiction. Many of the visas that we speak about on eMigr8, many of them tech-enabled, are not there to do you a favor. They are there because these countries want you to move there to help their economy. bring your innovation, bring your idea, bring your talent, bring your family, and then grow the economy, pay taxes in the economy, create jobs in the economy, create new innovation in the economy, because everyone forward thinking realizes that tech is the new oil. And so what we do at eMigr8 is help you become globally attractive in two ways, either focusing on your tech-enabled profile, you as an individual, showing yourself as globally attractive, or your tech-enabled business, because there are visas available to you because you are an individual with extraordinary ability, you are a talent in the field of tech, and there are visas available because your startup itself could be your visa. Your digital technology company could be your visa. Many countries all over Europe has one version of startup visa or the other. The requirements may be slightly different from each other, which is why we have coaches focused on these different visa pathways. But the overall objective is the same, which is if you are globally attractive, you have options of anywhere in the world that you would like to move to. There are nuances, there are requirements, there are gates that you need to cross, but that is a major thing that we hope that you remember as a talent that you are because you are attending this session. eMigr8 covers all sorts of services, from information sessions to general inquiry. We're a coaching platform at the end of the day. We help with assessments. We help with self-directed roadmaps. We also help with unfolding through a journey to becoming globally attractive. If you've applied before and you're looking to do an endorsement review and appeal, for example, we're able to help as well. And many of the things that we do at eMigr8, we actually do for free, right? We operate a freemium model. Many things happen for free, but then we are also able to, we do a number of things at a premium as well. On the free side are open information sessions like this eMigr8 Open Day that you're attending or watching the video later right now. We've got the eMigr8 community. We have a vibrant community across multiple social media platforms, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and so on, where we share information, and we share many of this information as they are happening so that you can stay up to date, because believe it or not, many of these pathways change and they change often. During today's edition, we will first focus around the Tech Nation visa, but yes, we'll also be speaking around what is going to happen next based on the news around Tech Nation shutting down. We've got introductory videos, we've got open consultation sessions, we've got visa-specific office hours, and we also have short inquiry session, all of these for free. What we advise if you are looking at taking the short inquiry session is to please take the best advantage of all the other things that are available. Don't come to that session and ask the coach questions like, oh, what is eMigr8? Or things that you could easily have Googled. Go to that session and be able to ask questions that is unique to you and questions that will be useful for helping you get direction in either your application process, your preparation process, or any other process as well. On the premium side, we've got eMigr8 Circle, we've got personalized coaching services, we've got eMigr8 Premium services, and a number of other services as well. We'll come back more to speak about what eMigr8 can do, how eMigr8 can help, but we will be just going straight into the first session for today, where we would have our coach speaking to us. Our coach is going to be sharing from his wealth of experience. If you have questions, we ask that you please do drop it in the chat. The first session, as I mentioned, would be focused on an investor, Henry, our coach today, being one of them, sharing his own journey and a guide around the Tech Nation visa from his own perspective and from his own journey. We will remind the audience that this is not immigration advice, nor legal advice. This is us sharing from the wealth of our experience, and we believe it's extremely useful. If you wait till the end, we've got a number of bonuses for you as part of this session. Also, we would be talking towards the end of this session around what next as regards the Tech Nation shutting down. All right, so thank you once again for joining us. As I said earlier, if you could you drop in the chat, for example, where you are joining us from, as I hand over to our coach for this evening, Henry.
Thanks, buddy. Hi, everyone, and it's good to be here. I remember when I also, when my sister reached out to me and said, Henry, you should consider applying for the Global Talents Visa technician. And I thought to myself, this stress. But then I started that journey, and I'm glad I did. So, but before I go into that, I'm just going to give everyone a little bit of background about myself, my journey in tech so far, and then we could talk about technician, application process, and my understanding and interpretation of the whole requirements and my story around that. So my journey in tech started very long ago. I do know that right before Facebook was actually an established channel for running ads, this was mid towards, late 2000s. I was already reviewing and doing stuffs around internet marketing. And this basically evolved into, for those who may have done internet marketing, you would understand that you are solving a problem, but what you're doing is arbitrage. You're trying to buy traffic and trying to convert these people and then do it in a way that is profitable enough so you can keep buying traffic. And at the end of the day, if you think a little bit beyond that surface level arbitrage, what happens is you begin to really realize that you could actually build a solid business on this same problem you're solving, but with more controls. You would own the platform, you would own your users, you would own the traffic, and you would basically control your destiny, rather than being one decision away from disaster, because the traffic platform could suspend you, the offer you're promoting could change, a whole lot could happen. And so a lot of this and a lot of experience, basically just, I think when AdSense also started, we tried our hands at all of that. And a lot of all of this hustle spirits led to me thinking I need to really build a proper business and start, a startup. But for then, it wasn't really fully clear how I was going to do this until I went for National Youth Service. And I was posted to Lagos. So I get to Lagos for my NYSC, and then I think that was when I first realized that there was this active but very small community of tech startups and people who work in the space who are basically innovating in their own little way. And so early 2011, I decided I was going to build my very first startup, and I got started with that. And it was a fan page. It was a Facebook fan page monetization platform, and we did quite good. Had close to 200 fan pages. Had we had reach of about 14 million fans, and we raised a little bit of funding. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about that and how that journey has influenced the work that I presently do now. But as a then, we raised a little bit of funding. We continued to build. We had interest from a lot of sources. We had the Facebook team through their ecosystem staff for Africa or West Africa, who was always providing us Facebook related support. And that relationship really led to a lot. That as when Mark Zuckerberg visited Nigeria, I think this was in 2016, I was one of the founders that was invited to meet with him at a closed session. And we ended up shutting down the platform when Facebook released a similar product called Facebook Instant Articles. And that story ended. But that journey really taught us a lot. I learned a lot from the scars of that journey, but on all fronts, really, running a startup, dealing with investors, understanding how, especially local investors, and how they think, and and basically telling your story, right? And yeah, from there, I went back to do some work. I worked with an advertising agency where I ended up helping them build out the first programmatic channel. And I think it was here that I really fine-tuned my product skills, and went further deeper into really just the product space and helping a lot of startups build products across a few industries, fintech, blockchain, ad tech, insurtech, a whole lot of other spaces. And I realized that I like the thrill of the early stage, thrill, but mostly the chaos of early stage, because early stage, I mean, I don't have a reason that I want to share as why I like it, but I just know that it was a fit with me, just walking through chaos, discovering patterns, validating these patterns, and then trying to building upon this, and creating is like alchemy, creating something that could potentially be expanded to meet real needs for lots and lots of people out of nothing. And this really helped, this really influenced a lot of my decisions going forward, that as much as I was doing a whole lot of other work, other really exciting work, I was also on the side consulting for startups. And as at 2019, I consulted for Startup Bootcamp, which is one of the biggest global accelerators, running acceleration programs in 19 cities and counting across the world. And I joined their African team to accelerate a few startups at their Cape Town campus, where we accelerated really exciting startups like Ubant in Curacao. I mean, Curacao just announced a $3 million seed round yesterday on LinkedIn. So we did that, and I continued to really work with Startup Bootcamp. And as at last year, I decided to run Startup Bootcamp's acceleration fund called ASIP out of our Dakar campus. So that's what I do now as the program director and founder in residence. And this is really the story from me getting into tech and me getting into the space right now, the short version. Now, in terms of Technician, how I came across it and my journey. Well, the very first person who told me about Technician was my sister. I love to travel, and I do a lot of work with startups, and I also have quite a lot of industry experience. So she reached out one day and said, "Hey, take a look at this. I think you should apply." And well, I wasn't one of those people who really wanted to jackpot all means. I was very much comfortable with just having the ability to travel, which is also why a lot of the message that Bade and Binkom preaches resonates with me greatly. It's not necessarily about going to one particular country because that's where your destiny is. No, I think it's about you building yourself up to the point where you're attractive globally. And that's how you should see it. And the more successful you are at this, the more irresistible you would be to countries that you choose to apply to. So when she shared it with me, back to the story, she shared it with me. I originally said, no, I wouldn't, but I'm not interested. But I think this was in 2020 or thereabout. So 2021, ended of 2021, I took a look at it again. And I thought, what do I have to lose? You know, especially considering that a global talent really offers me the flexibility that I need, you know, in terms of not expecting that you have to sit your ass down in the UK the entire year, and all the perks, you know, being eligible for ILR, and of course, depending on the one you get endorsed for, but being eligible for ILR in my own case in 3 years, and of course, being able to go on the path of citizenship as well if you want to. I thought this is cool. It's not a lot of stress. It's not a lot of work. And so how do we qualify? So I read through and I thought, okay, I'll apply. And so I started the application process, and I submitted my application, and then I get a message. We would not apply you. We would not endorse you. And I thought, this is weird, because I imagined that I submitted everything that I needed to submit. So I reread the requirements as well as the appeal process. So I sent in an appeal. Said, take a look at this. I don't understand. And let me know. And then the message came through about a week later that, yeah, you are indeed endorsed as an exceptional talent. And last year, so I decided to make a move early last year, and came to the UK for a few weeks, got my BRP, but went back to Lagos, but then I had to travel for work. And then the whole experience has been really good, because from the way you get treated at the airports, all the way down to the flexibilities that the visa affords you, it's really fantastic. I have zero regrets. And I know you all might be here wondering how exactly, give us the nitty-gritty. What exactly how did you apply, or what's the quality of, the caliber of reference that you used, or what was it about you that you used to submit as proof? Before I go into that, I'm going to just tell you something about my understanding and what I think you should also build upon if you want to stand a very good chance. My understanding of the Tech Nation endorsement process and the global talent visa requirements is that of course, there's the fact that, and this you can read up on their website, there's a specific criteria of those who are relevant. You have to work in tech, and there's the roles that you have to be able to demonstrate, and that's clear, that's fine. But beyond just working in tech, the idea, the goal, the key thing is they want to be sure that your work in tech is significant enough that comparative or relative to other applicants or other people globally, you would be in the top category, because they want to attract the top of the top. So it's not enough to say I work in tech. You have to be able to say I work in tech, and the work that I do in tech is significant. So the real challenge is actually not demonstrating that you work in tech. The real challenge is demonstrating significance. How do you measure significance? How do you prove that what you do is significant and is worthy of the endorsements of Tech Nation? For me, I think that I'm going to tell you what I used, and then I would also, sum it up into what I think that or how you should think about it and what you could use. So for me, I used a combination of proofs that I'd gathered. To give you an idea, from the time that I decided I was going to apply to the time that I actually applied, I think there was about 3 months or thereabout. And I basically outlined, I came up with a plan, right? This is what you want to see. This is how you want to see me prove that what I've done is significant. So what are the options for proving significance? I got the lists, right? Now, what are the ones that I can do that I've done and I can use as proof? I build it up as well. The ones that I have readily available now, I have the lists. The ones that I did not have readily available, I checked if it was something I could realistically get within the timeline that I'd given myself. If it was in my plan to get. If it wasn't, then I had to seek alternatives or look for other options to cover for that. And this was basically how I approached the planning. Now, in terms of actually getting the proof, of course, you all know you have to bring your CV, then you have to bring write an essay, and then you have to submit all the proof and then the reference. And the proof, there's I don't know what the criteria is now, but when I applied, there was the 1 mandatory and the 3 optional criteria, and you had to bring the 1 mandatory and 4 optional criteria, and you had to do 1 mandatory and I think 2 or 3 optional minimum. So for mandatory, for mandatory, you had to show the significance. So in my own case, I was able to demonstrate, and I think this ties into this example of proofs that you could work towards. So I had already done a lot of work with startups, and I had also done a lot of work with my startups that I co-founded. So, and this was all stuff that I'd done within 5 years of the time I was applying. So I was able to line up this proof. For startups that I had done, I had gotten them into, even though I know I run an accelerator fund now, but as of then, I did not run this fund. I had gotten one of my other startups into another accelerator. And for the other startups that I'd worked with, I'd gotten some of them a lot of tremendous progress, that some of them were able to raise funds from that. And some of them were able to use the GTM strategy we created to go into new markets and grow their commercials, revenue, and users tremendously. And I had all the proof of all of this, and I could basically line it up and show this, right? And I'd also been, featured in quite a number of media channels. And so I was able to quickly line this up. Before then, I'd done a lot of mentoring work, and I was able to also basically document this. And in all the proof, and I could go on and on, but in all the proof that I got, there's a pattern that you could see. You have to understand that Tech Nation, so GTV, the Global Talent Visa, is basically the UK saying, we want to bring in the most talented tech people globally to the UK. We want to attract them. But we don't know how to identify real tech people, because people could easily lie to us. So Tech Nation help us with this process, right? And Tech Nation comes in and Tech Nation says, okay, this is the criteria we've created. Send in the proof that matches this criteria. The reality is, Tech Nation still needs, in addition to what you say, in addition to all the things that you're able to talk about, which could still be, despite their best efforts, could still be doctored, Tech Nation would want some sort of third-party validation. And this is very important. So third-party validation is one of the most important things that you could arrange. So as you do all your work now, and I know that some of you that might be listening to me, you may be working in tech right now, but as far as you're concerned, you just like to stay in your space and do your work and get your money. If you're going to apply to Tech Nation, you have to begin to think, how can you give more and share more and document that? And whether that is sharing as a mentor or basically participating in, hackathons or whatever, just get out there more and more. So coming back to what I was saying, third-party validation. This could be through really well-established media channels. This could be through awards, industry awards that you'd gotten. This could be through some sort of proof that's coming from a third party that is, that can be independently verified and is not emanating from you. Or so what that could mean is, if you, let's say you want to show proof that you're able to generate revenue, or let's say that you're a growth hacker and you want to show proof that you were able to drive certain level of growth for a startup that you worked for, and you think this growth is really magnificent, it's deserving of putting you in the top cadre. If you were to two different types of proof, if you were to bring an Excel sheet, right, an Excel sheet, and say, this Excel sheet, this is it, it shows that I was able to get 1 million users for this person, and and this is how this is their retention, this is cohort retention, all of that stuff. And if you were able to, let's say, bring not just the Excel sheet, but also screenshots of your whatever tracking panel you use, if it's Google Analytics, or even if it's like a screen recording of you logged into Google Analytics. And so the more you can actually, the more the proof can be shown to be, the more the suspicion of being doctored can be removed, the easier, the more valid, or the bigger the weight that proof will carry. So remember this, and begin to think now of the best way to actually go out there, get more third-party verification, get more third-party recognition, and think to yourself, if I'm going to be the top 2% of my industry, what would that look like, right? What would I need to do? Where would I need to be recognized, right? It's easy if you already, you already write for a local newspaper, have already presented at several industry events, had already held, the stage at several opportunities, have already gotten into other programs similar to Tech Nation, and especially if these programs are also of significant reputes globally. All of this makes it easier to then demonstrate that, and not just because I say so through the documents that I provide, but also this person, this person, this person, this person all say so, and they're all reputation, organizations of significant reputation, right? And the more that you can say this, the more you can demonstrate this through the proof that you submit, the more weight your proof will carry, and the higher chances will be. And also, you have to all remember that you are, as it stands, it will be safe to assume that a lot of the people listening to me would be dialing in from Nigeria, and you would all be Nigerians. There's a large amount of Nigerian applications, so put this in mind, and think, what would it take for me to be the top 2%? And how can I get other international bodies or other reputed, well-connected, well-respected bodies to recognize this and begin to work towards that more than anything. And I think, by all means, this would be the biggest advice that I can give. I know that Bade is still going to talk about the news around Tech Nation shutting down, and what a lot of people might be keen to hear. Fear not, Tech Nation is not going anywhere. Global Talent Visa is not going anywhere. But Bade will do more justice on that. I'm going to take a break and probably just see if there are questions,
okay,
so I can start answering them.
Okay. Hi, Henry. I'm just going to drive the question and answer section. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Moody. Right. And if you have questions, please do drop them in the chat. We would read them out. We don't have a lot of time, so please take advantage of the time we have. But I'm going to start off the question from, in terms of, how do I put it now? Reference. So there's a lot of question around, who can reference to me? How did you get your reference or your referees? Can you, talk a bit more about getting, your technician asked for 3 references, how to sort out for reference, and who are those people that can reference? So it must be a C-suite leader or just anybody that leads a tech team,
Fantastic. That's actually a very interesting question. Yeah, so I think right now technician is actually when I applied, I know that it had to be a senior leader. It has to be a C-suite or director level person. And I know also that right now a technician is trying to make sure that only people who know who they're referencing actually write out these references. And they measure if, the relationship between both parties is actually strong enough and significant enough to even warrant the reference to begin with. How I got mine, I got my references from 2 people that I'd worked with before. And my 3rd reference, I got it from a startup that helped achieve tremendous results. And for me, it all tied back into the story that I told about how the work that part of the proof that I'd already presented in terms of the work that I'd done for this startup, and then also having the startup founder who that particular success had been captured in the press to begin with, then say, yeah, and this is attributable to the work that Henry's done, then it basically, there was, it was connected to, it was well-connected story. And so, but I think what I would say is, if you're working at a product-led company, begin to make sure that you have very good relationships with leadership, and make sure that you're known, you're visible. That's one. And then 2 is actually begin to build relationships in the industry. This is really why events happen. I know that one of my very first presentations at an event was basically, I'd gone to this event and this person spoke, and I thought that her speech was really good. And at the end, I walked up to her and I said, "What the speech you gave is really good, and I'm proud of the work that you've done." And she said, "Oh, well, thank you." And then I said, "Well, the topic that you spoke about, there's this, that, but I'm happy to also share this with you that may give you a little bit of, So basically, I offered to help her see a different side of it, and then that we started that conversation. And before long, she told me that same conference, there was also another speaking opportunity, and if I was interested, I could actually apply. And long and short, I ended up doing that. And so just putting yourself out there, building these relationships, because the more you're out there, the more you could establish relationships that could then lead to valid, well thought out reference letters from industry leaders. A very important thing to mention is all the people who referenced me had already done something remarkable in tech and had already had third parties who had validated them, either through being featured in the press, or all of them had been featured in the press anyways, but there was also a few other awards here and there. So they were all bona fide industry leaders in their own rights.
Okay, fantastic. Right, thank you for shedding light on that one. Another question we have here is that your path, you have a bit of consultancy in your path, and we know technician doesn't kind of like consultancy around tech, so for some of us who may, be working for a consultancy tech firm or doing a bit of consultancy around firm, is there, what are your advice for such people? And is there any way they can position the application, to be attractive to technician guys?
Yeah, it's important to state that while I was consulting on the side, I was actually working full-time. Consulting was never really full-time for me. And if you're in consulting right now, I would say that find a way to especially if you want to apply or qualify for this particular project, find a way to actually either switch and get like a full-time, that you could then demonstrate your consulting skill on, or actually find a project that you can contribute on, and even if it's pro bono, even if you actually don't get paid, but that you could use that as a product-led initiative that you have played a part on, and only you would understand the nature of the contract that you've signed with the founders or the team that you're working with on that initiative. That would be my advice.
Okay, so it's very important and it's clear that you have to have worked in a product-led digital technology product, right? So
absolutely,
is crystal clear. And if you're here, you're interested in Technician, I like to say, have you done your due diligence? You have to go to technician.io to read through all of the acceptance criteria and what the requests are. And I'm going to be asking some questions around acceptance criteria. But let me read out this next question from Emeka, right? He's looking at exceptional promise and said, can I present evidence that is less than 2 months? For example, I started a startup in a month and presented that as a piece of evidence, then applied next month, right? Rebecca is give and take from this submission is 3 months old in startup. Let's not say in tech, let's just say in startup, right? And he wants to be able to provide evidence that is less than 2 months old while applying for exceptional promise, not the big one, exceptional promise. So what are your thoughts around Emeka's question?
Yeah, Emeka, I think I would go back to what I said earlier, which is, do you think that with just starting a startup that you would be part of the top 2% of people in tech in Nigeria? I think you and I know the answer. So because it is not just about being in tech or starting a startup to demonstrate that you're in tech. It is also about being able to demonstrate that the work you've done is significant. So if you start a startup and your startup discovers something so unique that you're actually now working on a patent, now you may actually be onto something. Or if you start a startup and then your startup launches an MVP into the market, and while you're gathering momentum, you get into a world-class accelerator, now you might be onto something, right? And you may then begin to gather other pieces of evidence that you need in order to meet up with the full evidence list and apply. But first, think to yourself, starting a startup in itself doesn't do anything. It only says, yes, you're in tech. But it doesn't say that you're in the 2% or 1% of the top. So remember this.
Yeah, I think that's a very fantastic way to answer that, because you have to have convincing evidence, and 1 month, 2 months might be good evidence, but it's not convincing yet because you've not done it over time, right? So thank you for that. There's a question, I'm not into tech, how do I get the scholarship? So Technician is not a scholarship, I just wanted to point it out. It has nothing to do with education in terms of formal education. It's not a scholarship, it's a visa given to people that have shown promise, of shown talent, exceptional talent, in the field of technology, right? So if you are that person, and this is for you. However, if you are a student looking for where to explore in terms of traveling, you might want to look at the tech ecosystem and give yourself a roadmap to say in the next 2 to 3 years, I should be able to check these boxes to meet technicians' requirements, right? And that's the advice I can give if you are a student, right? The next question, I have a question. What if you are in consulting, leading the product development arm of the business? The firm has a suite of products serving thousands of clients. These products are not consulting assignments. They are owned by the product arm of the consulting business. Would this work for Tech Nation?
Well, then I think, yeah, that's a very interesting question. So there's two things that you could do, right? One is there's a story, there's a narrative about your career that you could give. If the work that you do is basically to consult, I would say maybe do a little bit more. But if you are involved in the core products part, even if what you do is mostly you think it's mostly to consult, but you're actually part of the product building process and responsible for the outcome, then I think that what you could also do is really a change of narrative on how you see the work that you do. It's possible that you already do product-related work, and you may just need to really meet with somebody, an expert, or maybe consult with Bade, for instance, to help you establish what's the work that you presently do, the narratives that would fit the work that you already presently do and the skill set that you have. Because if what you're saying, or what I understand about what you're saying, is that you already work for a product-led company and you have a very wide range of products, right? So if you have this, and all your customers are all product users, so you're not I mean, even if you have an arm where you consult for, you sell your time for money as a consultant on that purely consulting model, you could still do one of the two options that I already talked about, because you're in a company where you're in a significantly product-led company. So you could still do the two plays that I mentioned.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm conscious of time, and I wanted to talk about non-technical people that can apply for technician visa, right? So the digital marketer, for example, the business analytics people, the product manager people, the project manager people, because this guy just the same person that asked the first question said, I lead a product development from ideation to market, right? I lead the product development from ideation to market for this firm that he works for. So I wanted to ask that question and make it broad to say, what are my chances from a product developer, if I'm a digital marketer, if I'm a project manager in tech? I'm not exactly, because when people talk about tech, they're thinking front end, back end, core developer, CTO level type developer. What are my chances and what do you advise?
Great point. I'm also not a technical tech talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the business side of things. And I think that a very good way to look at this, especially in terms of significance, is to ask yourself, how can I quantify the outcome of my contribution to a particular product-led initiative, right? For instance, I've been involved in a little bit of fundraise for a few startups, and I can say that yes, this announcement of this round, we were able to, I can demonstrate how our actions, the works that we've done now, has directly led to that particular outcome. So if you're in growth, or whatever it is you do, ideation, however you describe what you do, the one question is, what is the outcome that you've achieved? Is it that you've been able to grow the users of that platform, and you've been able to help drive retention, and that retention has then led to an increase in revenue, or for example. And then the question is quantify. If all you've done is at 5 figures, for instance, that's not enough. But if you can say that you've done it at a 6-7 figure level, USD consistently, then that is significant. That is big enough in terms of significance to put you at that top bracket. The next thing you then need to do is just to demonstrate how your efforts directly translated to that outcome. So think about it in this way, and you would always have take the right steps.
Okay. Thank you. One more question. Do we have time for more than one more? One more question. I want to talk about acceptance criteria and a general overview of the acceptance criteria. I don't want to nail it down to which did you apply against, because you might be overly biased towards those ones. But if you can share those with us, by all means, please oblige us. But in terms of acceptance criteria, what are the advice, the do's and don'ts, if you can remember, and generally around the acceptance criteria for technician?
Yeah. I think I touched on this a little bit.
Yeah.
What's important is really just demonstrating significance. And I think that if a third party that has significant reputation and authority also can point to that significance.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm speaking in a lot of abstract terms, but just see it this way. Amudi, if you say, let's use the gentleman that asked the previous question, Emeka. If you say, if Emeka comes and says, I am great, right? Yeah. And he's applying to me, and I say, well, it's easy for you to say, but then Moody, you are known internationally, and your awards, people apply in droves to win your award. And you come out and you say, oh yeah, Emeka is great. He actually also won one of our awards.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking, oh yeah, he's definitely probably great, right? And you don't have to write it as a reference. It could literally be an award that he's won and it carries your name, or I see it on your website, or it could be in terms of a particular outcome that he's achieved that is related to work that he's done with you, right? So long and short really is, think of two things. Think of a way to quantify the significance of what you've done and make sure that the quantity is large enough, and then look at how you can find really reputable third parties to enforce that. This could be having your name in the press, talking about that stuff or something relevant to your tech talent, having your name next to an award, having your name next to a hackathon that is of international repute, having your name on the list of, a funding event, for instance. We've seen some of our startups who we accelerate. Basically, it opens doors for them, because once you could point to the fact that you've been accelerated by a world-class accelerator, it's a stamp of approval. So just having and being a part of some of this, and you also have to understand that if you're part of a team that gets into an accelerator, for instance, then that outcome in itself is already significant enough. What you then need to focus on is actually proving that your work contributed significantly to that outcome for that startup. So once you think of it in terms of this significance and how to quantify it, and then a third-party stamp of approval, you would always be fine. It doesn't matter which of the, I don't know if the acceptance criteria has changed now. Like I said earlier, there's a mandatory and then the optional. It doesn't matter if you choose to do the mentor part where you go, mentor as much as possible. And in my own case, I had my name on a few mentor websites. And so it was easy to say, I'm not just saying I'm a mentor. You can actually go to these websites and you're going to see my name and my face on it, right?
Yeah.
It made it easy. So you could look at how you could do this. If it's a mentor, it doesn't matter if you want to do the mentor part or you want to do
recognition. I think it's recognition, innovation.
Yeah, recognition in terms of
innovation, leadership.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you choose to do. Once you realize that it's a common thread, which is really that third party, recognition, stamp of approval, then you already have a plan. You can then work towards getting this. And remember, document everything. Document everything, even if it is to take a screenshot, take it. And then depending on how much proof because establishing how your work has led to this particular outcome is also sometimes can be a lot of work. So document as much as you can. Take as many screenshots, as many emails that you get from mentor platforms welcoming you as a mentor. Have a screenshot. Have all of this saved somewhere. Keep a record. Keep as much record as you can. This is going to be useful, not just for technician, for a whole lot of other things as you journey through life.
All right. So we have one. So there are two more questions I need to ask. But there's a question here on the chat. What track can I apply to as a non-technical founder? I co-founded a startup 4 years ago and another last year. We got a couple of media features as well. Both ideas are pre-revenue and the second is also pre-launch. P.S. I had worked in consulting for almost a decade before tech happened, right?
Moody, should I take that question? I know Henry has to go, so probably give his final word and I can take that question.
All right. So Henry, your final word, since Buddy wants to take this question, is really, and this is really Buddy's question that I'm about to ask you. We have three categories of people in the room, in the chat, right? People that are just navigating to tech, they are newbies in tech enthusiasts, they are switching careers to tech. And we have people that have been in tech for maybe 3 to 5 years, mid-level tech talent. Then we have the expert level people in the house. They've been in tech 10 years, 5 years, rolled out product, and they're looking at technician. These three categories are in the chart, and they're looking at technician. What would you advise? What advice would you give to each of them? Looking at technician, what should they look out for? Why should they apply? From those three tiers.
Interesting question. So if you've been in the tech space for quite a while and you're already pretty much experienced, I would say look to share more, reach out, connect more, get more out there. It really just right now what you need to be doing is establishing yourself as one of the top talents in your space. And so share more and don't be shy. Don't think that, because a lot of times people hold themselves back because they feel like if I expose myself, then people might actually realize that I don't know enough. It's fine. You don't need to know everything. Just go out there, and it even helps you quickly know what you don't know and then quickly go figure it out and keep going. So get more out there fast. If you're in the mid-level stage, you're now beginning to get your foot settled, and and you'll be looking to qualify to apply in the next couple of years. What I would say is really validate the narrative of your career path. How do you define what you do? How do you describe what you do? What are you presently doing? What outcomes are you presently directly responsible for driving? Right? A whole lot of bogus titles that doesn't really tell you or tell anybody what you do and the results you achieve. Ultimately, we want to know that you get things done, right? And the things you get done, how significant they are, that's really what technician is looking for. Is it significant enough so that we can invite you as a VIP to the UK? That's it. So be on the path that gets things done and begin to make those adjustments, right? As you make those adjustments, then you can, build up on that real quick. And then you can get to the point where you also begin to get more out there and and do like the more advanced guys. And if you're just starting, well, I would say really think long term, right? Make sure that you're on the path that you're happy to be in 5 years from now, because the reality is, if you're just starting, a lot of the magic will not happen within the first year or first 2 years. A lot of the magic, a lot of the excitement, a lot of the recognition will happen probably much later. So really think through what path you want to go through. Think through where you think your strength lies, and then begin to do as much as you can, learn as much as you can, and get things done. Remember, it's not that I've worked in tech and I've worked for this big, fine company. It's about you as a person. What have you got done? What have you got done? What have you achieved? What is this big achievement that we can see, that we can attribute to you? Nothing else matters. So begin to think in terms of that, and just get your hands dirty and start doing. And it's a muscle. Start training the muscle to deliver, to get things done, and to see how you can build up on that and get a lot more done, and get to the point where you're getting something massive done, and you can, be in the top cadre. I think that's what I would leave with everybody right now.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. We really do appreciate your insight and sharing your journey with the community. Thank you once more. All right.
Thanks, buddy, and thanks everyone. I have to run now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry.
Okay. Right. For everybody in the room, in the conversation, Buddy is here to answer more questions, and I'm just going to run through a bit of more information slides that we need to communicate across for Technation and for what we do here at eMigr8, right? So at eMigr8 services, we run both free services and premium services alike. For the free services, we have information session like the one we just had now, and one we will have with Buddy following this short presentation. They are free. It's called eMigr8 Open Day, where we share inspiration, share stories with the community of people that has applied, gotten this visa, telling their story, telling their journey, and it's usually free. Like today's edition, it's monthly and it's free to everyone at the eMigr8 community. So we ask that you do invite your friends, tech enthusiasts alike, people that are looking at the relocation through one of the tech visas, not just Technation, as you soon find out. We have these videos also on YouTube, so you can consult, you can check out YouTube for past editions. And also we have specific office hours where we do a bit of consulting for inquiry, short inquiry, and it's limited to one short inquiry session per person. So if you are reviewing your technician and you want somebody to review with you want to talk to a coach about it, those short inquiry sessions are fantastic for you to take advantage of. And these are all free. We look at the premium environment or the premium packages that we offer. We have the eMigr8 Circle, which is premium to join. It's free to join, but it's premium for premium community members. We have personalized coaching in that community. We have standard package. We can review and do introductions for that community. We have eMigr8 premium service, a full-fledged 1 to 2 year program, and we have custom programs. You can join any of this community via WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can join any of the community and participate, ask questions, and we tend to interact more freely in those communities. So, one, to indicate interest in any of this community, you can go to bincom.net/eMigr8. You can also, for the premium service, you can go to blog.bincom.net/eMigr8 pricing, right? Which is where you start from, right? Packages we have, like I said, is not just Technation visa routes that we do offer. We have the move to the UK as a global talent, which is, again, technician, United Kingdom. We have moved to the UK in 3 to 6 months, which is the startup visa, or what they call the UK Innovator Visa. All right, that is the focus of that. Again, it's suitable for people wanting to move to United Kingdom. You have a startup, you have an idea that will suit the United Kingdom market or the ecosystem there. Yeah, this is a fantastic visa route. It's a 2-year visa, initial visa route. Take advantage of it. Move to the UK, move to the US as a global talent. Let's focus on O1 visa for individuals with extraordinary ability or achievement, right? Don't let the word extraordinary ability or achievement take you aback. If you do a proper process and review of your journey, you'll find out that you have done some extraordinary things. You have started some ideas, or you've worked in ideas that deem extraordinary in the tech space. So don't look at this word. Join the ecosystem. We'll review your CV together with a coach, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction on things to do, things to pick up, and things to pick up, and things to focus more on when you're writing your narrative. We also have Move in 2023. All right, 5 tech-enabled visa pathway to explore the UK, the US, Canada, France, and Germany. Depend on your unique circumstance as a client or as an individual, or your goals or your vision. We can drop a tailor a roadmap that suits your uniqueness and suit what you're trying to achieve. Yet eMigr8, we are not a visa issuing organization. We'll have to put that. We are a tech organization, and we are focused on making you a global talent. And the end result of that, or the side effect, like we say, is the fact that nations and economies will seek to have you come to their countries to live and work and contribute to the tech ecosystem in their country. We also have UK tech-enabled visa pathway, which is focused on skilled worker visa in the UK. We can share more incentive and more information around those packages. Like I said, we have the WhatsApp community, we have the Telegram community, we have the Facebook, LinkedIn, and the YouTube community. And you can join any of this community. But what we ask you to do is don't be silent when you join this community. Please chat, let us know your uniqueness, let us know what you are working on, let us know your goals, and we can help partner with you. And also do share. If this information you are getting is useful to you, it's definitely useful to somebody else in your ecosystem. Do share the link, ask people to join, make comments, and just engage generally. People get to win a free consultancy session and some premium packages session for being very active in the community, right? Other services from Bincom Dev Center, we have the Global Tech program. Like I mentioned, we are not a visa issuing company, so we have other services that will prepare you for things like technician and other technology-based visa application, right? So one of it is the Bincom Global Tech program. This is a 1 to 2 year program suitable for beginners and intermediate level programmers, right? And it helps you gain skill, help you gain experience, because you're going to be working on real life projects, and help you gain exposure, from ideation to market. Really, we'll talk about a skill set you want to build, either as a product manager or as a full stack developer, front end developer, any of the languages you want to focus on. We have it in the Bincom Global Tech program, right? If you go to bincom.net/global tech and fill a very short form there, we'll get back to you and put you through more details as to Bincom Global Tech program. But it's suitable for beginners, all right, where we can start you off as a tech enthusiast. We can start you off from the nitty-gritty, what you need to know, and move you to the intermediate and move you to expert level within 1 to 2 years, right? We also have become a tech talent, right? We offer tech training for £175 per month, right? For individuals, individual career, tech career coaching session. We offer that for £700 per session. Then tech apprenticeship with UK company reference. There's an offering for that for £350. So if you're looking to build your CV, if you're looking for mentorship, if you're looking for intros into new markets, this is for you, right? So you can join. Again, there's a number that you can call or go to bincom.net/tech global tech. We offer discount depending on what level you are coming in. So when we start the conversation, we can inform you on the discount. For full package, it is discounted at £1,000, as you can see there on the slide, right? Yeah. Again, there's a mentorship platform. Henry spoke about mentorship platform as one of the platform. One of the criteria he applied against was he was a mentor and he was able to show proof that he mentored people in the platform. And so Henry spoke extensively. We have a Bincom mentorship platform where you can offer your time to be a mentor, right? If you are an expert level in the charts, even in the room, if you're an expert level, you want to be a mentor, or if you're a beginner and you need a mentor, you want, if you're an expert level, you want to be a mentor, you're looking for mentees that you can mentor, right? You can join the platform. But if you're also a beginner looking for mentors, there are mentors also on the platform looking for mentees to mentor. So this is a fantastic opportunity, Bincom mentorship platform. Please join any of the groups and we will point you in that direction. So you have Bincom mentoring platform, mentors.org, I believe, right? That will be the platform to go to. So Bincom mentorship platform or Reg. But am I getting that right? That's the platform.
You'll send it in the chat, hopefully.
Yeah, it's kind of long. So yeah, and this is one of my favorite, Last by Bincom. It's a cohort program where you have between 3 to 10 people in a particular cohort build a product from ideation to market, right? From ideation to market. So this is a fantastic 3 to 6 month product. So if you work in consulting and you haven't built a tech product before, right? This is a program that you want to take advantage of. If you work in services, tech services, customer call center or customer services, you want to build your portfolio around products, right? This is a platform that you want to join. If you work as a graphic designer, as a graphic designer, this again is a product, a platform you want to take advantage of. So Last by Bincom, it's a 3 to 6 month program where you can join a team, 3 to 10 member strong team to create a startup. So you're building a product from ideation, like I said, to market, right? And this helps to build your CV, helps to build your portfolio, helps to position you for visas like Technation that are specific focused on product-led, digital-led products, right? So take advantage of that. Bincom.net/labs is where you want to go to start your journey with Labs by Bincom. There's a new group, new cohorts now. If you are lucky, you can join them. They're still, I think it's still open for the week, I believe. So take advantage of that. We have tech career coaching services, headhunter services. I was just going to run through this so that we can have Buddy come up. We also have, again, I've talked about our packages, our relocation packages across the UK, the US, and other nations, right? For the UK, again, we have the startup visa. For the US, we have the O1 EB2 visa. For The UK will also have the innovator visa and the technician visa. The skilled workers visa, I mentioned some of them in our packages earlier. In the US, we have the O1 visa and the EB1 visa. For Canada, we have the startup visa. For France, we have the French visa. And for the other European nations that are offering digital nomad visas, they do apply. We can have further conversation if you're looking at Portugal, Spain, and other countries within Europe offering visas to start to tech enthusiasts or tech experts to come to their economy. We can have this conversation. If you book a session, if you know a 3-minute session with us, we can. Well, if we can take advantage of the free session to have this conversation, you can also book a full-fledged 30 to 1 hour session with any coach to have more details, right? Our lowest common denominator again is making you become globally attractive, right? And leveraging on tech, right? The visas opportunity that we are focused on will give you pathway to settlement, will give you opportunity to move with your family. We also focus on tech-enabled, especially tech-enabled opportunity only. And as a beginner, don't be scared. You can join in from the very beginning. You know how to write HTML. You can join in. Right? We'll create a pathway for you. We'll create a roadmap specific for you. But we just need you to be able to engage with the curriculum that we'll design together. Right? Yeah, this list is not exhaustive, but think about the opportunity to move with your family without hassle. Think about the opportunity to move without paying a school fees. And think about the opportunity to move and start earning from the get-go. That is a fantastic visa opportunity. I think everyone should take advantage of. For people that think they don't yet qualify, you have heard the story of Henry, how he started his own startup. He worked in consulting, and today he's based in the United Kingdom. And we took us through his journey, and I think you must have heard one or two things that must have triggered you, inspired you to say, if Henry can do it, maybe I too can do it. And there's a question in the chat that we left for Bade, right, that he will take a chance on, and we'll go back to the chat now. Bade, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am, Moody.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I think the question, I'm so sorry.
Afsen, what track can I apply to as a non-technical founder? I co-founded a startup 4 years ago and another one last year. We got a couple of media feature as well. Both ideas are pre-revenue, and the second is also pre-launch. I had worked in consulting for almost a decade before tech happened. What advice would you give to?
Okay, so the challenge I have is you ran a 4-year-old startup, right? And there was no revenue. You didn't say it's not profitable, which is possible, right? But what you said is that there's no revenue, meaning that nobody has paid you for your digital technology for 4 years. I feel like that is not exceptional. I mean, I can't say for a fact. There may be a lot of information. You may have a patent. You may be innovative. You may have done many other things that you haven't put in this question. But just on the surface of it, 4-year-old technology, you built it, no customer at all. Nobody even paid 100 Naira or something. If you say you are not profitable, that's a different thing. Many startups are never profitable. Some of even the bigger ones that we know, right? But pre-revenue means you have not been able to sell your product at all for 4 years. I don't think that is exceptional. The second one that just launched is too new, right? And so because it's too new, I don't think that would also qualify in terms of you being able to use it, because it's still new. But in addition to the fact that it is still new, it also is not earning any revenue as well. So that's my assessment based on the question you've asked. However, what I've learned from experience is that there may be a lot that you haven't said. There may be a lot that that may be unique circumstance in your own case, because it seems very It seems interesting to know of a 4-year-old startup that has never earned any revenue, for example.
No, maybe he meant to say it hasn't been profitable, right?
That's what I'm assuming as well.
Yeah.
So hasn't been profitable is a different case. If it hasn't been profitable, that may qualify because you'll be able to show your traction. You'll be able to show the revenue. You'll be able to show what's been going on. You'll be able to show number of users, or you'll be able to show innovation and stuff like that. So that's a different story than zero revenue. I hope that helps.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I will have another question. Glad Buddy is in the room. Hi, all right. I'm currently studying digital marketing in the UK. How do I find reliable people to collaborate for a startup project? If the startup picks up, can I apply for global talent visa with it? After that, leave to remain. So the main question, there are two questions here, right? She wants to partner with reliable people to collaborate with for her startup. You know, how does she find that? And she's based in the UK, and that's why I'm happy you're in the room. And the second question is, upon the partnership and assuming the startup has blown that big, can she apply for global talent visa with the startup? Yeah.
The answer is yes. So if your startup has significant traction, right, and for now, and you have less than 5 years experience in the field of tech, you only need one. A few years ago, you would have needed 2 of such examples of digital innovation that was successful, but the guidelines changed about 1.5 years ago, where you now only need 1 example of digital innovation of that nature. But please bear in mind that you would need to put a lot of work into your startup. The interesting thing is that your startup could even fail. It wouldn't really matter as long as you're able to show traction of that startup over a period of time, and there has to be significant traction. I like the way Henry put it. You need to be part of the top 2%, basically, of, at that point in time. How do you find co-founders? There are quite a number of platforms, particularly since you are based in the UK. There are a number of platforms where you can find co-founders. They are like marketplaces for people looking for co-founders. So if you're a technical co-founder, you can find a business co-founder. If you're a business co-founder, you can find a technical co-founder as well. So multiple platforms do exist, and there are a few venture builders as well. That's what they are called. There's a popular one. I can't remember the name right now. It was right in the tip of my tongue. But for others on the room, you can also drop names of recommendation. There are venture builder platforms as well. What they do is they will bring you in technically as a staff, right? And you will then be paired with other founders who then will build ideas. It could be your idea, it could be other ideas that they already have in their camp as well. So that exists, but we would also recommend Bincom to you. With Bincom, we have a pre-incubator program called Labs by Bincom, which Moody mentioned a few moments ago. It's pre-incubator, so you are not actually registering a company with Labs by Bincom. But if you are successful within the 3 to 6 months of the program, you will be able to be admitted into the Bincom incubator program, where Bincom will be able to actually mentor and also incubate that particular startup as well. But in addition to that, you can also apply to other startup programs, Techstars, and so on. So I hope that helps.
Yes, that helped. I've added the links to join the various eMigr8 community in the chat. So we have Telegram, we have Facebook links, we have LinkedIn and YouTube link, and also the link to join the mentorship platform for everyone to take advantage of. Right. Just a follow-up thought on the startup question. I said the first is position. It's talking about it has 2 startups. I don't know if you remember the question, Buddy. The revenue one. So the first is positioned as a non-profit startup. We have very significant traction. We have helped thousands of drivers find parking around. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I shared screen. Apologies for distracting you.
All right. Okay. We don't have visibility of the screen you shared. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to share again. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, fantastic. Now we do. All right. So the first startup was positioned as a non-profit startup and more of social impact, because said we have very significant traction. We have helped thousands of drivers find parking around Lagos. The second startup, we have over 100,000 people on our pre-launch wait list. So those are what I would say to Amadi is to please join the Bincom communities and reach out to us so that we create a session where we can have a proper conversation. We cannot dissect both startup to give you a feedback, but what we know is that you have something that you can build on. You have traction, you have innovation, a proof of startup, if it's not, even if it's non-profit, but we can take it offline and expand on it. Because you waited to the end, so I will give you 30-minute consultancy session with one of our coaches. Hope you take advantage of that. All right. Thank you. Yeah, Bade is in the room once more. And he has a big announcement from Tech Nation he wants to share with us. So, Bade, please, over to you.
Okay, I don't know about big announcement. It's just to share a bit of perspective around the news that went all over social media. We shared a bit around from the community, but we also have an opportunity to answer questions for those that may have questions around that. I think the headline is, Tech Nation is shutting down. However, the UK Global Talent Visa for the field of digital technology is not. The reason is because the UK economy needs that specific visa, right? The UK is struggling to get talent into their jurisdiction, and these and many more visa types are available for people to be able to move to the UK, particularly if they can show that they will add value to the UK ecosystem. A couple of open days time, we will be speaking around the new UK Innovator Visa, which is going to, there are some significant changes anyway, but we'll be speaking about that at a different session. So the summary is this: yes, Tech Nation may shut down. Yes, the endorsing body may change, but then it's not going anywhere. But let me, before I share opinion, what I wanted to start with was to share official information, and then I will share opinion right after. Please understand that this is not immigration advice. This is not legal advice. This is just us sharing from our experience. Also, please understand that we are not the Home Office. Even Tech Nation is not the Home Office. So a lot of these things are happening really fast, really fluid, but as there's more information, we will share. As we also get privileged information, we will share in a way where we don't, how do I say it? We don't go against the non-disclosures and stuff like that that we've signed for us to get access to some of those information. Tech Nation season operation. So this is official. As at today, this is official. This is the official information. Official information is what I'm sharing first, then I will share my opinion on the official information. So Tech Nation is going to cease main operations by 31st March 2023. If you are very privy, you'll probably notice that they've added one small word to that actually changes what they said a couple of weeks before then, right? The word main, right? Until further notice, we'll continue to accept global talent endorsements. Also official information, but notice it says until further notice. Previous endorsements are fine. We've had a number of people contact us who are current visa holders asking that what's my own status and all. It doesn't affect you in any way. So if in case that was your position, you are fine. It never was going to affect you. The UK will stick with its laws. Even if they will make changes, they will make it moving forward. They won't make changes retrospectively. So it didn't affect you in the first place, in case you thought it did. Now, failure to do so will require you to apply for endorsement again. So basically, and then we'll continue to offer the digital, so Global Talent Visa will continue to offer the visa for digital technology. But then they would update the notice. Now, this is the official information, right? One more official information, and then I will share my opinion. This is from Home Office website, dated January 2023, and the one I will simply point your house to, because a number of people say, oh, it's Barclays that will start giving the endorsement. It is, as of today, it is unlikely, but we never know, as I said. But the decision around this funding, so why Technician is shutting down is they didn't get a funding they normally get every year, and they've been getting that funding every year for a while now. But for whatever reason, the UK government decided to give Barclays eMigr8 the contract. Some people will say it wasn't fair. Barclays has significant financial backing. eMigr8 has significant financial backing for Barclays, but all of those things are not our decision, nor was it Technician's decision. Whatever reason, the UK government did that. But the key one I wanted to show on this tab is the fact that Barclays Lab will not be taking administration of the visa scheme as at then. However, what Technician seems to be doing is that they are trying to sell different portions of their assets. So they have a number of very interesting programs, a number of programs that I was surprised to hear that they were shutting down. What we thought they would do as at December was that they would shut down a number of divisions that were not profitable, and they had already started doing that. So it was a surprise for me, as well as many people I know, that they then said they were shutting down. It was also a surprise for their staff. So their staff also did not know they were shutting down until that announcement was made, right? And I know this because we were in meetings with their staff for something else a day before, and they didn't know their jobs were on the line. As at that day, they were making meetings and doing plans for the rest of the year and so on. Anyway, I digress. What I'm saying is, this is the official information. So this is my opinion now, right? I've shared official information. Now I'm sharing my opinion. Hopefully when they cut this video and they share 30 seconds, they will share the fact that this is opinion, not anyway. So here's my opinion, and I wrote this a couple of weeks back, but it's still to a large extent valid. Today is, you don't have to rush your application, is what I'm saying. However, if you were already close to applying, my advice still remains the same as of today, which is that go ahead and apply before the deadline. The much I know, opinion, is that there will be changes. Now, in terms of changes, it is not unusual. The reason why it's not unusual is because Technician has actually always made changes to the visa requirement, to the application requirement for endorsements. They used to make about 3 or so changes per year at the minimum, and some of those changes were significant. I was answering a question and I mentioned before you needed 2 examples of innovation, they changed it to 1. At some point, you could do Coursera courses and you could say that, oh, that's my way of showing that I'm globally recognized, I'm globally attractive, but then they removed it as a requirement, and several other changes like that. So the point I'm making is those changes would always happen. So there are 2 parts to this. If you're already close to applying, you're already preparing your application, you're already getting recommenders and so on, my recommendation to you is lock yourself into the current process and complete your process. Once you pay, you have about 15 working days for you to apply. And because you have paid already, you will submit your application even if there's any suspension in the future. You'll be allowed to submit your application on the current guideline. That's what we advise if you're already close to applying. However, if you were not close to applying, there's no point submitting a shoddy application. What we think you should do is just be patient, even if there's a temporary suspension, which is now unlikely. But even if there's a temporary suspension, it would not be for long. There will be a few things that may change. One of them is that the endorsing body may change. Now, of course, if the endorsing body does change, it would change with maybe a couple of changes. It may be a case where the team that manages the visa team will just move to a different company. And so rather than it called Technician Visa, it could be called Bincom Visa for all we know, or something else. But that may happen. If there's a new endorsing body, there may also be different kinds of changes. But the point is that if you are globally attractive, the UK wants you. And so because the UK wants you, they will make a way to get you into their economy. there are other visa types that do exist aside from the Tech Nation visa. And so we think that you should be patient and prepare a fantastic application, an application that the endorser and your assessors would have no doubt to say, oh, this is a global talent. This is a globally attractive individual. Let this individual move to the UK and be able to do the things that they do more in the UK, right? And so that's what we believe that you should be thinking about. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. The final thing I'll mention is that aside from the UK, similar visas do exist in other jurisdictions. This is the USO1 visa requirement. It is slightly harder, maybe not slightly, it is harder to get than the Tech Nation visa, but the requirements are similar. Right, I would say to people typically that if you qualify for the UK Global Talent Visa for digital technology, Tech Nation visa, you likely would qualify for the O1 visa as well. Or you can plan yourself to qualify over a 6 months to 1 year period if there are some things that you still do not qualify for. And we work with lawyers who have a 100% success rate. The reason why they have 100% success rate is they would pre-assess you before they can even take you on as a client. Here's the point here. Even if that route, the Tech Nation visa route, were to shut down totally, you have many other options, particularly if you are globally attractive. And so this is my opinion as regards Tech Nation shutting down, my opinion as regards the news. I'm happy to answer questions, maybe other questions in the chat or other questions as regards my opinion. Thank you. Back to you, Modi.
First question. Will the eMigr8 community still be supporting people applying through the current process for Tech Nation? Is the eMigr8 community still supporting that?
Yes, we do not intend to stop any support for tech-enabled visa pathways generally. eMigr8 community supports Global Talent Visa, UK Startup Visa, UK Innovator Visa, UK Skilled Worker Visa, French Tech Visa, Canada Startup Visa, USO1 Visa, and several Australia Global Talent Visa, German Blue Card Visa, a number of them. Because what eMigr8 is a coaching platform. What we've done is we have coaches that are able to coach across all of these visa types and many more that are yet to come as well. That's what we do at eMigr8. It's actually a startup itself. You may not see it as such today, but eMigr8 is really a startup that connects coaches to individuals who are interested in these visa pathways. So yes, eMigr8 will continue to support the Tech Nation visa and the UK Global Talent Visa in the field of digital technology in whatever form it takes in the near and longer future.
All right. So there's a question in the chat, and this question is actually more of a Google question, pardon me. Can you give us examples of some pretty great popular startups in the UK already that is considered globally attractive? Currently in the UK, I'll give you some from the top of my head that have been part of the Tech Nation community. So startup like Just Eat that you see every day, they started as a startup. Startup like Starling Bank. It's a digital bank. They started from as a startup in the UK. And Monzo, the popular Monzo that we use, everyone that comes to the UK use. It's a popular startup, that is globally attractive today. So there are people in Nigeria today that visited the UK and have Monzo card that they are using to do international businesses. I didn't mean to say that. All right. So those are globally attractive startup that even that you can look at. Deliveroo, Just Eat, those are startups. And they are globally attractive today. Hope that answered the question. I'm sure with a simple Google.
Let me also add to that question. So I suspect maybe the person is also trying to ask for less popular startups that people may not know. So if you go back on some of the eMigr8 Open Day sessions that we've had a number of startup founders that have come on this platform. and they have shared their story. So take a look at some of those as well. They've been recognized as being globally attractive, maybe not at the level of Revolut and Monzo, but globally attractive enough to be asked to move to the UK to ply their trade.
Yeah. Take a look at this startup also, socialreputation.co.uk. Right. So that is a startup you should look out for also, right, in the UK. All right. Are there questions? I think I've run out of. Okay, there's one just popped up. The Canada and the UK startup visa, as well as the global talent visa, all sound attractive, but how do I know which is best option to emigrate with? But you want to?
So start by doing your own research. Start by Googling it, right? For many of these visa pathways, we've done open days. That's 1 hour, 30 minutes of packed with information focused on that visa pathway. Watch that video. That's where you should start from. Take a pen and paper and read their guides and note down the things that you do have. Now, when you need additional help, we do the 10 minutes free session where you can note down 5 questions, 10 questions, and rapid fire ask a coach about those things. And that may also give you additional direction for you to say, oh, this is what is best for me on the free side. On the paid side, if you would like to do an exploration session, we do our premium coaching session, but something like this question is not the kind of coaching we're excited to do, because you can simply Google it. Spend the time before you spend money, right? That's what we think you should do, but it's up to you to say, oh, I want a coaching session to focus on what are my own specific pathways. There's a lot of information out there. Use it first. That's what we think.
Yeah, thank you. There are a lot of videos that we've done in the past on each of these visa routes. Not just Technician, the Canada startup, the Australian tech visa also. We have a video online for that. The US O1 visa also. So take advantage of that rich body of information that we have on YouTube, and you can also do your own research in addition to that, like Badi have said. And when you zero down on which one you want to progress on, then eMigr8's doors are open. You can come in and also take advantage of the opportunities that we have with speaking to a coach, and just being active in a community and asking questions. All right. I don't have any more questions at this time. All right. So I would say thank you, everyone, and I will ask Badi to share his last comment for this session, advice, tips.
So what I'll just say is, this is something I said in an open day session, and they cut the 30 seconds clip and all, which is that many of the visa pathways we talk about, it's available today. There's no guarantee it will be available tomorrow. What that means for you as a talent is that whatever you do quick, basically. If you are not yet ready and you still need to do a bit more work, do that work as quickly as possible. Time waits for no one at the end of the day. Many of these pathways will still be open for a long time because there's a shortage in talents almost everywhere in the world. But the requirements may change. It may change for you, it may change against you. So what you should probably do is that get ready and get ready very quickly. There are exciting changes coming for the UK innovator visa, which is exciting for many people in the community. We'll share more information on that, which is changing for you in this case. But then there are changes that also happens that may be against you, right? So when the global talent visa says you need to show relationship with your recommender for at least 1 year, what that has done is there are a number of people that don't have up to 1 year of relationship with anybody that is globally attractive themselves or who is considered a leader in the field themselves, which means that change is not maybe favorable for some people. The point I'm making is very simple. The pathway is available today. Take action today. Whatever action means for you. Action may mean read more. Action may mean do more research. Action may mean start preparing your application. The point being, there's something you should be able to do with the information you've gotten today. And if you need help, you can book a short inquiry session for free with eMigr8. Ideally, we only give access to one short inquiry session per individual. But because you waited till the end of this session or watch the video to the end, you can actually book a second session as well. And so what that means is that you can book your first session for whatever information you want to get, but then you can keep the second session to say, when I've done more research and I need more help, you can book a second session with another coach or the same coach to get more details as well. And this is only available because you've been part of this open day or a previous open day till the end of the session. Back to you, Modi. I hope this helps.
All right, that helps. Thank you very much. Someone is asking for, can I also get a schedule? So I've added on the group, I've added links to joining the various community. And once you join the various community, just ask for a question. Just ask a question. I want to get the number to call, and the number will be shared with you. And if you want a schedule, that also can be communicated. We can expand more on what do you mean by schedule, right? Do you want a schedule to speak to a coach, or you want us to do more? Okay, Buddy has shared the link again, right? So you can just, any of this link takes you to our community, and you can use that to join the community and ask questions, speak to a coach. There are coaches in the community. Speak to a coach, and we'll get the conversation going from there.
And you can
helps everyone
book a call as well from the community. If you ask for the link, they will give you the link to book a call.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Buddy, for your time. Thank you. And this has been the open day for the month of February. Thank you very much. We would be communicating also the next edition, but do please share the links with friends and family who are looking to move, relocate, become globally attractive. They're building a tech career. And this is a community of tech enthusiasts, tech leaders, experts, that are pitching in, they're helping. Most of the mentors were once beginners, right? Everybody started from one line of code, right? Some people started from Fortran, so you're even lucky that you're starting with more technology, with newer technology for those that are looking at the technology bit. And for the non-technical people in the chat, there are product managers, there are project managers that can also help you navigate the journey. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. The video will be available on YouTube. After now, you can go back to watch it if you missed out on any information. And we will also be communicating through our various social media channels, the next edition and the next speaker for the next edition. So look out for our posts, look out for our information channels for the next edition. And do please invite everyone interested in the technician, tech visa, O1 visa, and those tech-enabled visa. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely day.